Hi guys, thanks so much for joining me for this video. My name is Martha and I've been with iTutor Group for a couple of years now. For today's video, I'm going to share with you some insights of things that have worked for me in my classes when it comes to dealing with parents who guide their kids in the classroom. Just a disclaimer before I get started, the methods I'm going to share with you, these are not the standards. It's simply something that has worked for me. So you probably have your own methods that work for you perfectly, or maybe you do the exact same thing that I do, or maybe you're looking for something brand new you'd like to try out. So let's go ahead and get started. As we all know, one of the most annoying things you could possibly run into is a parent who decides to guide their kid alongside with you. Chances are you've prepared your material, you know how the lesson is going to flow or how you're going to teach it, you have your objectives that you'd like to achieve, but now you have this unexpected helper you never asked for. How do you deal with them? Something that has helped me in most of my classes are the intros and the icebreakers that I do in the first 3 to 5 minutes. Generally speaking, during those first few minutes, I'm actually assessing the kind of client that I've run into, and automatically I start adjusting my objectives depending on the kind of client I've run into and the kind of scenario I'm dealing with. From my experience, there are generally two kinds of scenarios I run into when it comes to parents who guide their kids in my classes, and this is how I deal with them. For purposes of this video, I'm going to call the first kid Jane. In this particular scenario, we have Jane and her mom, and generally speaking, when I start my classes, I'll do the introduction. I'll greet the child. I'll ask them their name, their age, or I'll probably even ask them what they like. I might use realia, images, or even TPR to just get the child to understand what I'm looking for. During this time, I'm assessing how the child actually responds to me. Is she answering these questions automatically, or is she waiting on her mom to answer and then she just repeats whatever the mom says? If she answers back on her own, then I know, okay, she's capable of responding to me. However, if she does not respond and she only responds when the mom says something, then I know A, she might be a beginner, or B, it could be that she's very shy and she's intimidated by me. The other thing I also do at the beginning, I'll do a game, maybe like find the differences, where's Waldo? The general purpose of that, I just want to see if the child is able to actually follow instructions, if she's able to use the tools on the whiteboard. And I'll also assess whether the mother takes over or not. So I'm kind of trying to see how much autonomy does the child have? How comfortable is she to actually respond to me? If after all this, I find that the child relies too much on the parent as opposed to responding to me directly, then I won't tell the parent to keep quiet. Instead, I'll align myself to the parent and I'll probably find a way to phase that parent out of the session so that the child can find some sort of autonomy to answer most of the questions on their own. What do I mean by that? Okay. For example, if I was introducing new vocabulary, I will say the word, I will write down the word into syllables so that we can practice the pronunciation, and I don't mind if the child and the mom say the word together. I'll make sure both of them are kind of saying it correctly at the same time. Whatever the mom says, I'll be like, I need you to say it this way, and then the child might repeat whatever the mom is saying. I don't mind using the mom at that particular section. However, something that I'll do on top of that, I'll ask follow-up questions using things that the child is likely to know. So I'm kind of trying to find an anchor of something that the child is likely to know and doesn't need the mother to answer for her. What is this? What do I mean by that? So words like, most kids know color. They know how to answer do you like questions. They know how to count and they know the alphabet. So let's make an example. If the new word was kiwi and there's a fruit of a kiwi, I'll probably write out the word kiwi into syllables, have the parent and the child practice together what it is, and I'll probably ask, what is this? And if the parent helps me at this point, I don't mind. They can say this is or it is. I'll encourage them to answer that question in a complete sentence. Then I'll move on and I'll say K stands for, K is for, because most kids know the alphabet. K is for, and encourage that child to actually use the word kiwi. What color is the kiwi? they'll give me that answer and I'll write it down in a sentence and encourage them again to repeat that answer in a sentence. Once they've completed that, I'll make sure I clap for that particular section where they were able to answer on their own. I'll over exaggerate my praise. I'll be like, yay, you did an amazing job. I'll clap and I'll be like, you did a wonderful job. And like, keep it up. And what I generally do, I continue using the questions that the child actually answered automatically without any difficulty, and I let go of any questions that might have been difficult for the child. The reason for that, I want to give them a bit of autonomy. I want to encourage them to keep on responding. And once they know there's certain questions they can answer on their own without their parents, they'll gain a bit of confidence and they'll start gaining a bit of trust in me, and they'll start answering some of the questions automatically without waiting for the mother. So I'll just keep on repeating the same method until through repetition the child will kind of know how the lesson is supposed to continue. What is this? They know how to answer that question. What color is it? Do you like it? If they're able to answer those questions, I'll keep repeating over and over and over until they no longer need the mother to actually assist them. So generally speaking, when I do this, eventually I end up phasing the parent out and we no longer need the parent to actually assist us in that session. Okay, so for the second and last scenario, I'm going to call this student Dave. Dave is in the classroom with his mom. Sorry, I keep using moms, but those are the kind of parents I usually run into. But Dave is in the classroom with his mom. The difference between Dave and Jane, Dave is able to do the introduction and able to follow instructions. So when I ask him, how are you? He's able to respond to that and also ask me how I'm feeling. He's able to tell me to introduce himself as well as follow the instructions when it comes to the games that we're playing. Now, what I usually run into with clients who are like Dave is that the moment I start teaching the lesson, the parent might jump in and start assisting at that point. When that happens, due to the fact that I know that Dave is able to actually answer some questions on his own, and usually in most of my classes I'll write down exactly what the client says. As soon as that happens, I try and nip that in the bud. So what I'll generally do, if I know that Dave is able to answer some things on his own, and since I've written down exactly what he said, I'll tell the parent, smiling while I'm doing it, I'll be like, Dave, I want you to answer. Mom, I don't want you to answer. And I'll probably go back to the section where Dave answered the questions and I'll be like, he's an amazing speaker. He's able to answer. Hopefully the parent will be able to understand what I'm saying and will stop assisting the child. Hopefully. If, however, the mother does not understand when I'm speaking and writing down, what I do is I'll act it out. Every time the mother tries to assist, I'll be like, Mom, shh. And I make sure that I'm smiling and I might laugh a little bit so that the mom knows I don't want her to respond, right? And then another thing that on top of that, I'll also just write down the questions that Dave actually answers automatically on his own. And I won't write down the responses that include the mother to kind of discourage that behavior. If that does not work, if the parent keeps on insisting, I'll let it go. I'll just let it go, because there are some parents who just continue assisting. However, in my feedback report, I make sure during the session, I make sure I note all the areas that Dave actually responded on his own, and I'll make note of those in the feedback report, and I'll try and discourage him from relying too much on the mother for his answers. And that's generally it, guys. However, I'd like to hear from you. So if you could use hashtag #ChattyParent on all the social media platforms that iTutor Group has, please share your methods that you use in your own classes to deal with this particular situation. With that being said, thank you for watching this video. Happy teaching.